Hey guys, Nick from JangaFX here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create this sweet liquid effect from scratch by painting textures in Photoshop, creating the materials for it and the shaders, and then making the particle system so that you can create awesome liquid effects just like this without having to do simulations from some other software or whatever. So sit back, enjoy, follow along, make sure that you get practice in, and soon enough you can create great effects just like this. Hey, this is Nick from JangaFX, and today I'm going to be showing you how to paint liquids for things like some kind of goop or blood or acid or something like that for your particle systems. I feel like texture creation isn't covered enough in a lot of tutorials out there, and so this right here is just one thing I'm going to show on how you can hand paint a liquid that can be dissolved to create really awesome results. And so let's get started with the texture painting. So first thing you want to do is you want to create a image in Photoshop, a new file. I have this as 1024 by 1024, and I am going to be using a tablet for all of this, not a mouse, because a mouse just, obviously it can't be as precise and it doesn't have pressure. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to block out the basic shape of our liquids. And I'm going to bring up water splash real quick, water splash PNG, and I'm going to kind of show this off. And so with this, what we've got is a bunch of different waters. And we can see that, for instance, this right here is a splash, and we've got like this film or membrane, whatever you want to call it, in the center of all of this. We've got like a bunch of little waves. We've got really hard, crisp lines around it. There's no blur. It's really crisp. And we've got little droplets and things that kind of extend outwards. And as they're going out, they kind of curve in and curve out. And so we're going to be able to replicate these types of shapes in the art that we're about to do. And so I recommend that you find pictures like this and take reference and take note of them and kind of see how they bend and how they act and look 3D and things like that, so that we can paint it more efficiently and so that you can get better results. So without further ado, let's get started. So first thing is grab your lasso tool and let's just go ahead and sketch out a basic shape that could be liquid kind of bursting out. So maybe we have in the center and liquid kind of coming out, and so let's just kind of do something like this, and maybe we got something like that, and it's bursting out down there, and it's kind of bursting out at the top like that. And I think that right there, it might be a little bit too thick in some places, so we'll kind of burst out into the corner right there and kind of come in like this. And nope, I don't like that already. And so let's come around and do something like this. And so it's okay to have like really crazy shapes through all this. And that's too linear. And so, don't be scared. You'll just get it right eventually and find a little shape that you like. And then, if you aren't finding one that you like, and so that's too uniform, I think. So we just got to be kind of random about it. And I will get the right shape eventually. So, let's see here. Yeah, so something like that. Alright, I think that's a pretty good shape to work with. So what I want to do, since I've created this new selection, is I will create a new layer. I'm going to hit Alt Backspace so that my top color fills in my selection. I'm going to deselect. I'm going to grab my eraser, and as we can see here, it's just the basic gradient brush that comes with Photoshop. I just have transfer set so that my shape doesn't change, but my opacity changes with however hard I press down with my pen. So we can just come in here. I'm going to start erasing these edges. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just going to come in, erase some of these shapes, and erase that little line that was created right there. and maybe get the edge of that. And we want to get all these hard edges off. And even though we have a soft gradient on the edges, we will fix that in one of our next steps whenever we use the liquify tool. And so from here, we have a lot of freedom to come out and branch out and do other things, you know, as we're drawing. And so I'm going to come in here and just paint this over, something like this. And I'm going to get a lot of these, you know, really bright colors out of here. We don't want that. We don't need that. And so, and then I'm going to start painting in some deeper, darker, what would you call it, transparency, membrane. And so we got this. Let's do something like that. Then we got this, and you know, just kind of getting some velocity shapes. And there's all these little like ridges and stuff that are starting to form, and that's what we want. We want to just come in with random pin pressures, just kind of scratch around and create, you know, a nice liquid-like feel to it, you know, and almost think of it as a 3D shape and kind of think of where we want to go with it. And that's just something that you can learn from practicing. And so I've done this at least 50 times now. And so, but I mean, it's not always right. I still don't get it right. And who knows, this right here might not be a, you know, a perfect texture, you know, in the end here. But hopefully it will turn out nicely. And so from here, I'm going to go ahead and grab my brush here. And once again, it's the same type of brush, just it's got transfer so that I can have opacity. And I don't have any kind of shape dynamics or anything like that. And so I'm going to just go ahead and start painting around the edge over here. And let me get my brush to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to zoom in to my liquid. And so let's start down here. And smaller yet. So we got something like this. We're just going to come around the edges. We're going to really kind of highlight it up. You don't want super bright spots because those are going to show up. And my apologies for the toilet flushing in the background if you can hear that. But let's see here. We're gonna just come around with this like so. And let's highlight this a little bit more. Something like that. And we don't have to be careful with our strokes or anything like that. Any misstroke that we might have could be used to our advantage down the road in this texture. And so we're just coming around. And I mean, the cleaner you can make it, the easier it's going to be on you in the end. But it's not bad. And so now what we want to do is we want to start following some of these shapes that we've erased out to the edges. And so for instance, let's come down here and highlight this edge. And then maybe come around to this and connect this line, and then maybe come out just like this and kind of curve out. And maybe we have an arcing connecting string, and maybe we have some little ridges or something in there, and we'll just kind of paint those in kind of like that. And let's get that big highlight away. So we have something like that, and maybe we have like some little dots that have come out, some droplets, so something just like this. And then maybe let's have it so that we kind of get this line, this coming around, and it kind of comes out like this, something like that. And then it's got like a bigger droplet on the end. And then let's follow this line up right here. This right here is interesting. So follow this line, and it's okay if we kind of make some missteps here. And let's just kind of send that one out, kind of like this. And we'll be able to edit these shapes here soon. So we're just going to kind of follow these lines, maybe thicken this up a bit. It's okay. Follow this one, And let's just kind of send that out too. Kind of curve that, something like that. All right. And then maybe we want to follow a line up here and just connect that. And we don't have to send every line outside of the shape. It's kind of overkill. And so then maybe we want to have like a line right there. And maybe we want a line between these. And maybe around that dark shape right there so we can kind of create a void. And maybe right here there's one extending out. And maybe one right here there's one. And then especially over here we've got something like this. And maybe it crosses because it's kind of a 3D shape. And it's bending and twisting. And so we've got this, and I think I'm just about satisfied with the base of this. I think it's quite nice. I think it's going to give us pretty good results. And so just kind of come out like that. And let me zoom out. And we can come out here and create just a standalone stream. And we can create like some faster droplets out here or something like this. And we can do kind of the same out here. And maybe extend this right here out a little bit. And then we probably definitely want to extend this one out too. Something like that. And then maybe we want to come in here and lighten this right here up. So we can just come in and paint some little ridges. And that's okay. It doesn't look like much now, but you'll see that this is going to be quite nice. Maybe we want to fill in this area right here. It's going to be a nicer chunk of membrane. It's going to look a lot better once we add a normal map to this. Maybe we have this section right here kind of filled in as well. And so we have that. And then, yeah, maybe we fill this right here in a little bit with some better shapes and a little bit more variation. Just create some little ridges and stuff in between some of this. And once again, it doesn't have to be perfect. So maybe we just do the same with some of this. And let's start adding some little dots. And that's way too bright. And so here we go. And those were too bright as well. And yep, just adding some little dots around here. It's okay if they're too bright. We don't have to delete all of them. And so yeah, we're just coming around and dotting some stuff. Maybe we thicken this line up a little bit, make it brighter. Maybe do the same with this one. And so yeah, we got something like this. We're just dotting randomly. Little streaks, little streams, etc. Something like that. Maybe we've got, you know, another little curve out up here, a blob. And we've got this right here being more of a blob too. And so I think that right there is good enough. And so what we're going to do is we're going to control click the background layer. We're going to merge them. We're going to go to filter, filter gallery, then paint daubs, and then we're going to choose sparkle as our brush type, turn sharpness to 0, and then we're going to have our brush size around 21. It depends on how much texture detail you want. In this case, it's looking kind of like, you know, because we don't want all of our little dots to go away that we put in. But just find a good middle ground, maybe 23. It's really nice. We're forming some really nice shapes here. And now we can kind of see that we've got some really nice depth in this texture. And can kind of see some of the 3D-ness. And so now, I'm going to go to my Wacom tablet settings. I'm going to go to Photoshop. I'm going to go to Mapping. And I'm going to turn off Windows Ink because otherwise the liquefied filter will not work. And so from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start painting, and if the brush gets jittery, I'm sorry about that. I can't fix that. It's an issue with Photoshop and Windows and the Wacom tablet. But we're going to just come in here and start thinning out some of these lines and creating harder edges and more defined shapes. That's what we want. And so maybe we'll make this right here a bit bigger. Kind of stretch that out, just kind of like a liquid, just like that. We're going to come in here and define this edge a little more. And maybe we'll burst that out, kind of like a jelly. And we've got something like this, and you can see my brush is really jittering. And so we've got this. Let's make this right here bigger too. And let's just kind of pull that out. And it's okay if it gets thin. And so we got something like that. And then let's kind of push this around and out. So something like that. We've got that. And we can erase that a little bit later. And add some, did I really just do that? I just reset something. I don't even know what key I hit. Whoops. Okay. Image changes are not visible. Okay, there we go. I just hit P on my keyboard and that disabled the preview. So thank goodness I did not erase my changes there. Okay. And so we're going to, which this is not working. There we go, go back to that tool. Okay. Now, so we're creating some harder edges, and I'm just kind of stroking down with the lines, with these edges, because we want to remove that gradient and give them nice, hard edges. And then we also want to thin up some of these lines. And so, you know, as we're coming in through here, we can just thin up that depth right there and make it really noticeable. Give it a really nice pit. Maybe come in here with some of this right here too and give that a nice pit. And then we want to thin out that particular line. And maybe we want to thin this one right here out too, so that it creates more of an edge highlight. And come in there and do something like this. Maybe expand that a bit. Push this around a little bit and kind of create some more depth. And let's come in here and thin out this particular line. And so we've got that, and we can thin that one out too. And then let's come around here and thin this line up and create a harder edge down there. And then we're going to kind of thin this one up too. And it's okay if we kind of push that around and make it a little more liquidy and not so straight. And so then we've got this and create a little indent there. And we can kind of come in here and finesse that a little more. It's okay if it's thick right there. It's kind of like a big blob of goo. And so let's just come up here and so we got this. And let me make this a little bit bigger so that we can get some finer swirling going on here, or a straight line, and kind of move that. And it's okay if we make the top up here kind of disappear or stretch out so that we see the transparent background. And then again, we just want to smooth in these edges and make them, you know, hard. And so we probably want to come up here to this thing and do that too. Maybe come in there and make that something like that. Who knows? So that's looking pretty good. And we're just gonna continue on thinning out these lines, creating harder shapes. And it's okay if this right here is kind of twirling around. Just add some more detail. But we don't want to spin our brush around, because that will create too many swirls, and I think that's, for me personally, it's an undesired effect. So you can see my brush is really freaking out right now because of Windows. Thanks, Bill. Or actually, maybe I should say thanks, Wacom, because I think it's the Wacom drivers with Windows 10 that's not working. And so we've got this, and we're just kind of, you know, like I said, coming in here and thinning up a lot of these outside lines and stuff. It's okay if we have some of these swirls, but maybe we want to push them back a little bit. And so you can see that our shape is, well, I guess really taking shape. Our liquid here is taking shape quite well, but that jitter is making this quite difficult because a lot of my initial pen presses aren't working. But I've got this. So if anyone knows a fix to this jitter issue, comment down in the comments below, because I would like to fix it on my home computer here. And so we got something like that, and it's cool that we have like this little cross membrane here, and something like this I think that it's going to be nice. Maybe we can define this a little bit better. So we come in here and kind of push that up right there, and maybe we push that right there out. So now it's something like that, and we could bring that out a little bit as if it was stretching a little bit. And this right here is still kind of blurry down here, so we're going to come in here and thin this out. And then let's hit this other edge, and we're just going to come in here and push that out. And then let's get our bigger brush. Let's just kind of get this right here, maybe really curving out or something, kind of like that. And I don't like the way that this up here turned out, so I'm going to just kind of press it out, something like that. Maybe it's a higher velocity or something. I'm going to push that out a little bit. And then, and one thing is you might want to save this kind of often, since Liquify doesn't shave if Photoshop crashes or something on me right now. But I don't know if you liquefy multiple times, is it going to leave like bad artifacts or something. Kind of like if you save a JPEG over and over, the quality kind of depletes over time. So I don't know if that's the case. Oh man, that's annoying. But alright, getting there, getting our nice little shapes in, and even like smaller shapes like this that are just like super subtle, like adding in just harder lines or harder edges, you know, makes all the difference in the quality of your texture, I think. And just paying attention to, you know, all the little details, and really going through and thinking, you know, if this is a liquid, how is it moving through the air? How is it behaving? How is it twisting? How is it turning? And thinking of it as a 3D object, and then just trying to paint in the values or the light or however you want to see this, you know, thickness. So just things like that. And so maybe this right here is a little bit too, you know, thick or whatever in this one little spot, and it was too, what would you call it, uniform. So then we can come right here and kind of press this up, something like that. And then, yeah, so we got that little stringy stuff. I'm just kind of pressing that out. And then let me get some big stuff going on here. And let me straighten this right here out. And so see, this is kind of what I like about this, is that you can just kind of crush all these little pixels together and straighten them out. I think this is going to be a very nice dissolve. And so one of the things we could have done is we could have tested it before we did this, but I forgot to do that. Not on the Unreal side, but in Photoshop. You can test how it's going to dissolve, and it's very useful. And see, we can even push that little gray into a better shape. And now let's just kind of come around and I guess on the last part, kind of fix some of these edges. And let's push this right here out a little bit, something like that. And maybe we want to curve this edge like way over or something, as if it's like flipping over itself. something like that. And so we got this. We're pushing in all these edges. And I'm not using any kind of like pressure sensitivity or anything for this in particular. I'm just using a really hard brush, or not hard, I don't know what kind of thing it is. It's just default liquify stuff. It's not accepting pen pressure or anything like that right now. I just want to clean up this edge a little bit. This right here is kind of messy. And so maybe clean this up, make it a little bit thinner. And so, I mean, that right there is a pretty good looking shape. We got some nice little swirls in some places. Maybe we want to remove some of that swirlness. Right here, maybe we want to define this shape just a little bit better, something like that. But we don't have anything too dark, and I think that this right here, like especially right there, it has some really nice depth. We can see that this right here is probably higher up, and so let's go ahead and hit OK. And before I do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and save as. I'm going to save as tutorial liquid 01. Okay. And now, if you want to see how this is going to dissolve, we can go ahead and press Ctrl L and play with our levels, and we can see that it's going to dissolve out kind of like this. And yeah, we've got some nice good center shapes going. So even farther out, we've got really nice strands that are still lasting. And it's almost as if, you know, once we see it, like all these little membranes are kind of dissolving into these final large shapes. And that's what we want. But we can see that there are some bad spots. Maybe this, we want to darken that a little bit, because that's a little bit too bright. And so let's get our eraser and do something like this. I'm just going to come over it just real quick, and I need to turn on Wacom, and I need to go to mapping, use Windows Ink so that it's pressure sensitive, and do something kind of like that, and that's okay. And so that kind of makes that better. And so then, you know, one more thing is that I'll show, you know, just in case you needed to do it. We can create a new layer and then another one. And let's say that we wanted to, you can hide that layer. Like if we needed to repair something, you know, like we didn't like the shape of it, or we wanted to add something, you know, you could come in here and with a smaller brush and do your strokes or whatever, fill it in, kind of like this, right? And then make it so that it is screen, and then merge these layers together, and let's do screen again, and then go to filter gallery, your paint daubs, do something like that, and then you can come in and edit it out and, you know, erase a little bit more, and then play with your liquify, and it would merge right in, you know, if you needed it to. And so that's a good little technique that I've used to save some dark spots. If you erase too much or whatever, you could easily go in and fix that. But let's get this exported. So we did that, but I made some changes. So now I need to do a normal map for this. And so you can just go to Filter, 3D, Generate Normal Map. Yes, Photoshop CC has normal maps. And these are the settings that I'm using right now. And so we can increase the detail a little bit. Maybe something like 84%. It looks pretty good. And we'll set that just like that. And now we're going to go to Save As. And I'm going to go here and type in the same name except _n for my normal map. Now I'm going to go into Unreal, and I'm going to import my 2 new textures for this particular tutorial. And so we got that. And now I'm going to go into my materials. I'm going to create a brand new material from scratch. I'm just going to call this liquid 01 or something. And so from here, what I'm going to do is go to my textures, and then I'm going to find tutorial liquid 01, and then I'm going to create another texture. I'm going to bring in my normal map. You might think, oh, he's going to do forward shading or something like that. No, that's expensive. And so if we want to do something cheap, we can go to translucent. And for now, we'll do default lit. But we can grab a transform and transform our vector from tangent space to world space. Then we're going to grab a reflection vector and plug in our custom world normal. And then we want to grab a cube map texture. And I don't have any good cube map textures right this second. I would highly recommend that if you went into Photoshop and you had like a cube map plugin or something, that you create a cube map that looks something like this, right? And so it would just be like boom, 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 right? Different like little highlight points or something, and then you export it out, do whatever, and you would have just these small little specular highlights for your cube map. But I have found another one that's default to Unreal. And so we're going to go to default texture cube, and it's this T cube map 01, I believe. Yeah, and so it looks just like this. It's really hideous, but it kind of has that pattern that I was telling you about, where it's just got like little lights, and it's got this really ugly outside. But if it were just the lights, it would be really nice. And so we've got that, but either way. So we've got that. Now we're going to plug that into our UVs, and now we're just going to kind of wait. And we're going to do something else for now. We're going to bring in a particle color, and we're going to bring out a multiply node. And then what we want to do is we want to dissolve this texture. So we're going to need a dynamic parameter. We can just call this erosion. And we want to make the default 0. And then we want to subtract the colors here from the erosion, right? And so if I just plug this in to base color, and if we type say 0.5, it should be dissolved quite a bit. And so there you go, you saw for a brief second there that it's quite dissolved. And so what we can do now is take this, and we can also do a divide. And we want to divide this by some number, not a bunch of s's. We want to divide it by, and we'll call this softness. And this right here is going to soften up the edges. And so we'll do like 0.1 or 0.05 or something. And plug that into the divide. And then from there, we want to saturate it so that it's between 0 and 1. And that's going to be our opacity. And then we can just plug the subtract directly into base color, which I guess technically we could plug this into base color and it would work just as well. Maybe. I wonder what the difference is. I don't know if there is a difference. But I'm just going to subtract from both, and we'll work with that. And so we've got this, and this is kind of what it looks like now. And it's really flat, but we can almost kind of see, hey, it's kind of trying to look 3D or something. And so what we can do, and then one thing is that only at certain angles can you see that there's actually like some filler in there. And so maybe, and then we can control C here, that maybe we would want to like lighten up some of this right here so that it's in. But since we're about to put on and add this to it, yep, that is the right one. So what we do is we click add, and we just add these two together, just like that. And now, look at that, now we have a shiny, normal mapped, translucent, default lit material. And we just can have volumetric non-directional. And one thing I like to do is I like to multiply this right here. And actually I'm going to multiply it up here. I'm going to plug this in, and I'm going to create another parameter. I'm going to call this specular or something like that. And I'm going to do like 0.1 or something. And then I'm going to plug that into the add. And that's going to minimize how much reflection and stuff like that we have. And it's going to look better in our game world. But depending on your cube map, you might want to have more. Depending on your game, you might want to have a super shiny liquid or something. that kind of reflects like a sky cube map or something, up to you. But from here, this right here is our basic texture. That is everything on this front. And so now what we need to do is we need to create a new particle system. So we're going to go and we're going to create a liquid. And now we just really hope that it looks good. And so let's type liquid and liquid 01. And so we've got that. And now let's go ahead and change our background color to gray or something like that. And then let's make this white for now. And so we'll just keep this as it is for right this second. And it's okay that it's black. It's just doing that because it is default lit, and that is okay. And so from here, what we want to do is we want to say, okay, and just for visualization's sake, maybe we want to make it like 5 or something in our color so that we can see it a little bit better. And so from here, what we want to do, and actually that's worse. So I'm just gonna bump that back down to 1, and we'll just work with this. And so for our lifetime, we want to do like 0.8 and maybe 1.2. And then for velocity, maybe we want to do like an upward headshot or something like that. So let's say if we're doing a headshot, we want to go maybe 600 and maybe 400 and then 0. And then maybe we want to say like 100, 100, negative 100, negative 100. That might be too much. We'll test it. Yeah, I'll do negative 50 and 50, negative 50 for that. And then I'm going to have acceleration, constant acceleration. I'm going to do like negative 1200 or negative 600. So something like that. And now we want to do some initial rotation. I think we want to do a rotation rate. And so we're going to do like negative 0.15 and then 0.15 for the max, something like that. And then we want to do the most important part, which is our dynamic parameter. We're going to right click and refresh that. Now we can see erosion. And right here where it says flip constant under the 0 point, we want to do a constant curve. And let's go ahead and add 3 points. And then at 0 seconds, it's going to be 0 for erosion. At 0.2 seconds, it's going to be 0. And then at 1, it's going to equal 1 in erosion. So it'll fade all the way out. And so this isn't looking too bad. But what we need to do now is we need to do a size by life so that we can really scale this sucker up. And so I'm going to go ahead and click this curve right here. Then I'm going to scale it so that I can see it. I'm going to turn off blue and green. And then I'm going to just kind of spread this right here up and see if it's changing at all. I can't tell. Did I mess something up? Nope, I don't know. Oh, maybe it's because I'm not scaling big enough. Or something. Here, you know what, I'm going to delete this. And I'm just going to do size by life by default here. And I'm going to say at the end equal like 5 times my spawn size or something. And maybe we'll do like 8. So now we've got like this really nice liquid coming out. And at first, let's make it burst. And we'll say like burst maybe 10 of them. And then we're going to spawn maybe 10 subsequently. And we want to make this last for like 2 seconds. And let's have it loop just once. And then maybe we want to make our size by life a little bit smaller. So we want to do like maybe 0.2 so that it's really kind of just coming out. And then maybe we want to do 200 or 100 or something like that on our initial velocity. And so now what we can do is we can drag this into our actual level and see that this right here is what our liquid looks like. And so that is a really, really nice stringy liquid. And if you painted 3 other textures just like this with different shapes and variations, put it into a sprite sheet, you almost can't tell the difference between this and a sim, I think. I mean, this right here, it's really nice. It looks milky or whatever. And, you know, let's do like 0.3 in color. Here, sorry. I'll come over here, like 0.3 in color, something like that. And then we'll do maybe like 0.1 and 0 and 0, so it's kind of fading out. And now we've got like, boom, headshot. And I'm just adjusting the color on my other screen. Do like 0.2, 0.1 maybe. And you can see that it is kind of, you know, glowing quite a bit. And that's just depending on, you know, which side of the light that we're on or whatever. And I believe that if we put this right here out into the light, it would be brighter. So yeah, it's a little bit brighter. And then, you know, we can go into our shader over here, and we can change our specular. Like if we had it set to 1, and since it's a parameter, you don't have to recompile it. And so we can see what would happen, that it would turn everything kind of white because of the cube map. And so we don't want that. And you can adjust it so that whatever cube map you're using, you know, it fits to your style or whatever. And so, you know, that's a good thing. And from here, one more thing that I can kind of show is, let's say that we wanted to make this kind of like acid. So all we got to do is just drag this down, plug that into emissive, and now if we take this and we make this say like 2 and 0.5 and 0.1 or something, and then yeah, kind of leave that where it is, I suppose. Fades off kind of to a red or whatever, doesn't matter. Now we've got this really nice liquidy acid blood. And so that's just a super nice motion, super great shapes and detail, just from one texture. I mean, come on. And then you're doing simple dissolve. This right here is a no-brainer technique for creating quick and easy blood for your games. I mean, I haven't found a technique better than this. I've tried many, many ones. And you know, this is if you don't have access to like simulations. But I mean, even then, I mean, the shapes that this right here is creating is really nice. And it's just because we have these nice thick shapes, and we have really went in and detailed, you know, where all of these little points are. We've added the strings on the outside, and you know, I'm sure that there are ways to even enhance this method or enhance, you know, what we see here. But I'm just gonna do something fun here for a second, maybe like 50. So just lots and lots of liquid. Oh my goodness. And so that's super, super sexy. And I think it's a great way to learn visual effects. Get out there, start painting. You know, get out there, learn Cascade or Niagara whenever that comes out. And hopefully this right here helped you guys out. I hope you guys learned something from my techniques and what I've learned from my many years doing visual effects. And this is just something that I kind of picked up recently. Go get a tablet, start painting in Photoshop, figure out textures. I know that people like doing stuff procedurally, but sometimes you just can't beat a hand-painted texture. And so hopefully that that solves everything, and I guess that's it. Subscribe, like, check us out at JangaFX.com. We sell VFX software as well, and so if you haven't checked that out, go do that. And I'll hope you guys have a great day. Catch you later. Bye.